All right, we begin this episode with some sad news. I don't actually know really what is true and what's not true, but let me tell you this. The Washington Post is a pretty reputable news source, so I'm going to go ahead and say that the reporting is detailed. Washington Post dropped a full article on how Ja this last summer, got himself into some trouble. And let's just say the conversation is a slightly sensitive subject. Turns out Ja and his very good friend, Devontae Pack, a.k.a. in this article they call him Pack, have been named now in a lawsuit stemming, this is wild, from an incident in a pickup game of basketball that happened at Ja's house this summer that apparently led to him, Ja, and his friend Pack essentially, I don't know if this is the right word, but essentially curb stomping some 17-year-old so hard that the police says they knocked him to the ground and left him with multiple large knots on the side of the head. Crazy story. Was reluctant to even discuss it, but I feel like if you're just a casual NBA fan, you probably don't even know that this is going on. According to the Washington Post, Ja became friends with a highly rated basketball prospect who no one knows who he is because he's a minor. He's 17. And part of the friendship involved Ja inviting this kid over to play in pickup games during the summer at his house. During one of those games, things got very heated. Ja threw the ball hard when checking up, and then the kid got so steamed that he checked it back just as hard. Ja missed the ball, and it hit him in the head, and that's where things went sideways. Ja told police, I don't mean to make light of it, but that's kind of what we do. Ja told the police that this kid throwing the ball at his head and hitting him in the head, he considered the first punch. So Ja actually believes that this was in self-defense. Even though he told the police, I also was the one who threw the first punch. Even though it's self-defense, the ball was actually the first punch, not me. Ja then looked at his friend, according to this article, and said, "Should we do it, boy?" And then they did. Apparently, they beat the kid senseless. The kid says he was punched dozens of times by both men. And then this is where it gets really kind of worse. Ja goes inside. The kid goes somewhere. Ja goes inside, apparently grabs a gun, puts it in his waistband, puts his hand on the gun in a threatening manner towards the kid. And Ja Morant, all the while, is, as usual, somewhere close and is screaming at Ja to get back inside the house. Hey, you need to stop this right now. Like, we gotta figure out a way to get your little ass home. So, according to the Post, in an interview with the police, Ja Morant said, like I mentioned a little bit before, that he acted in self-defense. But I swung first, he told detectives. Almost never have I heard of a self-defense case that claims that you were the one that threw the first punch. I don't know if I've ever. That's a very wildly honest and yet flawed self-defense claim. The police report continues. Ja believed that the boy had been an aggressor because he threw the ball at Ja's head, then stepped towards him, pulling up his pants. Apparently, folks, when you pull your pants up, it's not just because your pants are falling down. It's because you're ready to square up. It's time to go now. And so that was essentially fighting words. That was essentially fighting mannerisms. During the interview, detectives mentioned the boy's allegation that Morant flashed a gun, and Ja Morant and his people never denied that claim. Probably could not have come at a worse time for Ja Morant. Let's be honest. Probably don't want to have any bad PR on the heels of you releasing something that people are supposed to buy with your name on it. That's very obvious, but Ja Morant dropped his very first signature shoe with Nike on Tuesday. That was 2 days ago. And then Wednesday, WAPO drops this piece. I don't know if WAPO is trying to sink the stock of Ja Morant's signature shoes, but I'm just going to say the timing's not great. As an aside, Ja Morant being the first signature shoe for Nike that is $400 is absolutely bonkers. That thing is not worth $400. If the Kyries are not worth $400, the LeBrons are not worth $400, the Kobe's are not worth $400, then by golly, Ja, your shitty ass Ja 1 is not worth $400. Also, by the way, this came like a month ago. Remember when the Super Bowl week was? And then there was an incident with the Pacers. And there was like that whole, hey, I think we got a laser scope pulled on us by Ja's friends and family after Andrew Nembhard. Poor little cute Andrew Nembhard from Gonzaga, who's like probably 175 pounds soaking wet. They leave, and all of a sudden Ja's friends come by and they're making all kinds of threatening gestures, and there's a laser beam on them. Now, Ja, or his people, claimed that it was just a laser pointer. They were headed to a PowerPoint presentation, apparently. They had their cats in the car. They were just making sure the cats were entertained. I get it. I've got a dog. She sometimes rolls with me. I pull out my little laser beam. Sometimes it so happens to randomly go into my enemy's forehead just as I was playing with it with my cat. Just really weird. What do we make of all this in all seriousness? It's not good. I'm going to say that. I'm going to say this is not supposed to happen to a superstar player, and these are all self-inflicted wounds. I think Ja is very close to fucking his life up, and I don't think he quite gets that part, right? Somebody has to sit him down, in my opinion, and say, Ja, you're about to lose everything. All this endorsements, your career, you make $231 million. You cannot operate on hood rules anymore. No more. Cannot do it. You are the face of your franchise. You're probably going to be the face of the NBA. You can't just be curb stopping someone because they threw the ball too hard at you. You can't do that. You can't go inside and grab a gun, put it in your waistband and be like, yeah, well, look what I got. No, you cannot do that. And neither can your friend Pack or Stack, whatever. None of them. And you are the greatest show on planet Earth. That's the thing. You're not Malik Beasley. You're not insert random role player here. You are the best player to watch on planet Earth on a basketball court. Not even close. And you might lose all of that because you felt disrespected by a kid? Because he pulled his pants up at your house when you invited him over to the barbecue? That's some corny ass shit. That's I'm a gangster. I want to show him my muscle because I'm 155 pounds soaking wet. What are we doing here? You can't have your friends encouraging you. You can't have any friends that encourage you to do this nonsense. Because why? Because they're not worth $231 million. If they go to jail, no one's going to give a fuck. No one. Not the world, not the criminal justice system, nobody. You are the one that will be significantly altered by these decisions. So the op-ed got posted in the Washington Post as well. And they said, Ja is on a bad path, which I agree with. Defiance is part of his basketball charm. Accountability had better be a part of his evolution. Yes. And without accountability, you're going to have more incidents like this. Without a recognition that this is out of pocket, I can't be operating in this way, you are going to risk it all and probably lose it all for nothing. For absolutely nothing. Because the truth is, if you're looking for disrespect, you're going to find it everywhere. Even from a child who threw a basketball at you and pulled his fucking pants up.